Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Unapologetic Entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a good one for you. Man, I'm so excited. So excited. Listen, I'm going to start off by saying this episode, I am telling you right now, is not for the weak. And I'm going to say it because there's no censorship. Listen, I can't control my guest. My guest, everyone is allowed to be their authentic self when they come up on this platform. And to be honest with you guys, he was not even prepared to be here. But I'm going to let you know something, guys. I'm going to let you know why and how this happened. This happened because we are part of an organization, right? And today, I'm going to be honest, guys, we're traveling. I'm traveling tomorrow, right? So I was like, I need some time. Yeah. I'm actually going to postpone this, right? And then I got some people in my ear saying, postpone? Leo, you're Mr. Consistency. You go on. And in my head, I got these little voices talking to me, right? And then to make it better, I was previewed to a conversation that this man had on this morning call, and this man had me feeling like I needed to jump through the wall in mid-flight downstairs in PJs, because he made me feel like I was invincible. Like he just hit a topic that made me want to talk about it on this episode of the Unapologetic Entrepreneur, guys. And today I have been gracefully blessed last minute with Mr. Omar Mitchell. So I'm going to let Mr. Omar Mitchell first introduce himself before we get to the nitty-gritty and let you know what we're going to talk about. Mr. Omar Mitchell, please let our viewers know, for those of you that don't know you, who you are, what you do, and what, tell them something about your mindset, sir.
Hey, first of all, I want to appreciate you, Leo, for inviting me on. It's an honor to be on with you. I don't do many podcasts, and I don't get invited to many podcasts. So whenever I'm been blessed to been invited to one, I take advantage of it. And but yeah, my name is Omar Mitchell. I am owner and CEO of Midwest Insurance Group, a life insurance and Medicare insurance brokerage in 48 states. So we have about 700 agents that work within our network, and I'm doing well, man. I've been in the business for 12 years. My niche is still final expense life insurance, but and everything else that comes with that, annuities, FIAs, and Medicare that we do through the agency. So lifetime learner, man. I'm always learning from great people like yourself and other leaders that we have on our squad, man. And the focus is always to get better, brother.
Oh man, you couldn't say it any better, man. Well, today I decided to do this episode, and it's real easy, guys.
Mhm.
You got to pay the cost to be the boss. Today, Mr. Omar Mitchell dropped the mic in the morning. For those of you that missed it, that don't know what I'm talking about and are part of our organization, you should definitely go listen to it. But he talked about the price. And in entrepreneurship, the main thing is, what
Mhm.
does it cost to be an entrepreneur, right? We
Yeah.
talk about, in so many episodes, we talked about mindset. We talk about time with
Mhm.
family. We talked about this topic often. But while he was talking,
Mhm.
I was plotting and thinking, and in my head, my mind worked strange. I came up with 5 things that we're going to talk about, 5 key points that you should think about when collapsing time, and also
Mhm.
the cost you pay in order to be an entrepreneur. But that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to start off by just, simply, since I have him here, honestly, guys, I didn't even think he was going to show up. It's not that I don't believe in him. It's that this man is so busy. Sometimes I don't even
Busy.
know if he's going to do certain things. So I'm going to put it out there. But when I offered him to come up here, there was no hesitation. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
wow. So we got Mr. Omar Mitchell that we're going to get some of his mindset, and we're going to talk about the cost. So, Omar, what in a consensus, what is the cost to actually to be an entrepreneur? I mean, you're doing pretty well for yourself. You've done $500,000 a month. That's where your team has been that I know of. I looked up some
Mhm.
information. I don't know if I'm correct, but like,
Mhm.
what cost have you paid? Like, what have you
Yeah.
paid? You mentioned the cost, and we were talking about cost.
Mhm.
But at the end, I'm also going to say something regarding to that. But what have you paid to get to that
Mm.
level?
Well, listen, cost for me, when you look at this industry and being an entrepreneur in the insurance space, um, um, first of all, there's a cost to everything you do. Like as I talked on the call this morning, we occupy every second of our day with something, right? So when we have goals and we have dreams and aspirations and what we want to do in life, and specific to this industry, there's things we have to give up. There's costs that we have to pay, and that's usually sacrifice. A lot of times it's sacrifice and time spent with family. Sometimes it's time spent with your children. Activities and entertainment that you have to give up to put time and effort into this business. Also, the financial costs, right? Right. Being able to invest in your business, right? A lot of people have these goals and dreams, but they talk about having champagne taste on the beer budget, right? Right.
Woo!
You actually have to invest in your business, and sometimes that requires you to take funds from other places, right, or to focus on your own production. So 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 for me, the cost has always been, I was never the best, the slickest tongue salesperson, right. I was, I turned myself into a great producer because I would just outwork your ass, right. I'd be first one to office and last one to leave. So when it came down to putting in the work, the time, the effort. Always so funny because you have all these series and movies and entertainment. There's a series for every series. There's like Power and getting caught up. Sometimes my friends would say, "Hey, man, what episode you on?" I was like, "I'm 5 seasons behind because I haven't had the time to to sit down and watch these things because I'm working." Right. I'm actually working. So for me, it's the sacrifice that Mark Chirolia, our business partner, always talk about. Are you willing to sacrifice who you are today to become the person that you want to be? Right. For me, it was always, I'm going to put the time working. I'm going to run my business from my phone from the beach on Bali in a couple years. That's my focus. I want to be able to travel. I want to, but in the meantime, I need to build something that I'm able to be mobile, that I'm able to have success, that it's making money while I'm asleep. Right. In order to do that and have those goals, you have to be in a position where you're going to put it on the line. You're going to put it, you're going to give up your time. You're going to give up some of the entertainment that we crave, our goal, my goal is to sacrifice now so I can live the way I want to live for the rest of my life.
Oh, well, Lisette is saying, you are so right. Sacrifice means everything. I
Yeah.
also want to say
Yeah.
hi to Miss Amelia, Christel, and we got Miss Takira. We also have other viewers. Guys, if you actually put something up, I will be able to put it on the screen. So please just know that you are able to participate with the questions. You can direct your questions towards myself or Mr. Omar. We don't know what you're going to ask, but be part of the conversation. I do have things that I'm going to end up putting, and I'm going to be putting on the screen. So we're going to be asking some questions and going through it today. And I got a few of them for you. Got to do it today to live a life in the future. Yes, and I don't want to mess up your first name, so I'm gonna say Miss Amelia. I hope you don't mind. All right.
Don't
So
let me butcher somebody's name.
oh yeah, we got
Yes.
Jenny saying hello. All right. So let's get to it. I got a question for you, sir. Let's
Yes.
talk about family.
Hmm.
What has been the hardest part of balancing your business and family? Like, I had a conversation. I'll give you some background while you think about that. What has been the hardest part? Because I was talking to an agent, and the agent told me, I know I scheduled, and this is something like, I know I scheduled to meet with you today. I was so excited, but I forgot my daughter graduates
Hmm.
today time. And my answer was simple because the way I live
Hmm.
my business, the way I run it is faith, family, business.
Yeah.
Like they're more intertwined like a braid. But to
Yeah.
me, I would, if I committed myself to do an event at a church, I'm gonna
Hmm.
do that before I do my business. That's me. I'm not saying it's the right thing or the wrong thing, guys. This is Leo Garcia. I do faith, family, business. So I told her, listen, this is my role. This is my trio: faith, family, business. So you want to
Hmm.
cancel an appointment to do something with your family, which is a graduation? I'll see
Hmm.
you later. Reschedule this. We can
Yeah.
get to. So
Yeah.
how have you been able to balance your family and paying the
Hmm.
price? Because sometimes your family cannot be. you got. Sometimes you
Man.
go attend. There is a sacrifice. There is a
Yeah.
price.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I'm in a point in my life where my kids are grown, right. My kids, I have a 24-year-old, a 21-year-old, and two 19-year-olds, right. But there was times where within the past 5 years, I wasn't uh, as present as I wanted to be, right, because I was building a business, right. When you're building a business, but also got to see. But as some of the things that we talked about this morning, my goal was to set my kids up for a great future, right. One of my primary goals was getting my kids through college with no debt and 800 credit scores, right. I'm halfway to that goal, right. So I want to set them up for life, in a with in a, in a much better way than I was, right. So for me, it was like I'm going to sacrifice maybe spending some time on the weekends with them. I'm going to sacrifice sometimes, coming home late at night and they're already asleep for those times where I can guarantee my presence, graduations, the big stuff, right? I'll be there for the big stuff, and I will not sacrifice those times and those experience, but I will sacrifice just some everyday contact to make sure that I'm providing. As a man, as a father, I'm a provider. I'm going to make sure that if there's any question who they know, what their father is, it's a provider, and that I sacrifice for their legacy. And I always talk to Marty about this. I want my great 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 grandchildren to know who I am, right? I want them to be able to not never seeing me, never hearing from me, but actually still feeling my presence generations down the road, because I want to build that type of legacy for them. So for me, it's serious business, right? I'm going to go to work every day. I'm going to work my butt off, right? I'm going to make sure that I'm healthy enough to finish the race, right? So I'm prioritizing my health and fitness. I'm prioritizing my business. So I can run this race for as long as I can and as long as I need to do. So for me, yeah, it's serious business, bro. I have fun doing it. Don't get me wrong. I joke with the best of them. I love what I do. I'm so happy that I've found a profession that I truly feel that I make a difference. I've sold everything in my life, bro. I sold Cutco knives, gym memberships, cars, you name it. But nothing has ever fulfilled me more than being a life insurance professional, right? Right. So for me, it's that push, that drive. I'm having fun, but it's serious business to get to there.
Oh man, we got a comment here. Mr.
Uh-oh.
Mortarolio said, "I agree. If I don't have a certain money in the bank, y'all better
Mhm.
take pictures because I'm going to work."
Right, right.
I understand that.
That's
So
funny.
here's the thing: a lot of people will say family. So they
Mhm.
use. I think family is a pro and a con. Somebody also here, Miss Amelia said, is a constant struggle. It is hard because it's a double-edged
Oh.
sword. But there's some things that you have to sacrifice. And one of the things that I would like to say is that it does exist. Guilt, missed moments, those long hours away. It does affect us, right? As people that are in any entrepreneur. This is all about
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, just not our business, right? But there's certain coach used the word anchors. Sometimes there's certain things that these anchors you cannot allow them to slow you down because most of us are in entrepreneurship building something for them. So if
Yeah.
you're not going to work at it, it's going to hurt you, right? So
Mhm.
I think it's very important to work with the guilt. Please seek mentorship because one of the things that I know that's helped me is dealing with learning how to do a set schedule. There's many different
Mm.
people that have done this. There's people that do a reward, cost, reward, right? Everybody's
Mhm.
talking about the cost. That was my focus on the call today. It's like, wow, he did that, and then at the end, he sneaked in about how it's so worth it, the rewards. But I don't think everybody was focusing on the rewards. So I had to speak on that because
Yeah.
it's worth the reward. All the long hours, the reward. What is your reward? One of the things that our mentor has spoken about is all right, give yourself, first of all, there's something that I know most of the successful people in this business do. They have a family night. Like I've
Mhm.
called my mentor during the wrong time because I'm not really all in my mind and I'm just calling and it'll be something like, bro, it's date night. Is this important? No. And it's gone. Like the call's gone. It's not important. He's on date night. That's his moment for all the time that he's
It's
been
funny.
away. He's making that up with the family. But at the same
Yeah.
token, he has his own goal. So if he
Yeah.
made a goal for that week, which is, guys, please write this down if you're writing things down and you want to really seek something that's going to help you with your business, is then when you have a goal, you have to have a commitment. So he has commitments to reach this goal. So it's not just a goal and a dream. He has what he's going to do to get to this goal. If he gets this goal, there's a reward. What's the reward? We're going to go on a family 3-day vacation. We're going to go on a staycation. We're going to lock down,
Mhm.
shut off the phone, and I'm all yours. I'm going to clean the house for you, baby. Whatever your reward is, because now you have your family support. So, I mean, do
Mhm.
you have something like this, Omar, in place with you and your family, even though they're older now?
It's funny you say that because my we live a frugal life, although I have the income, the one thing we do splurge on is vacations. We always go on family vacations, and even for me, I get a little selfish for myself. I always tell Marty I got to be in South Florida or some kind of beach every 90 days because I need to be able to wind down, even though I may only need two, maybe at the most 3 days. I don't need a full 7 days. I ain't trying to be somewhere that takes your momentum away if you vacation too long. Is how I feel. But yeah, man. Like usually my goal is my goals are based on a weekly basis. Right. I have a focus at the beginning of the week to hit a goal for the week, and if I do that, then I get to relax a little bit. Maybe Saturday. If I'm not, if I'm not where I need to be, guess what I'm doing Saturday? I'm working. Right. I'm not. I'm not. Even if I put in work all throughout the week, I don't reward myself for inconsistent results. Right. So unfortunately, we don't hold ourselves to such a high standard that we hold a lot of other people. right. Et
Hmm.
always talks about, if you got a problem, you've cussing the manager out at the restaurant, you're trying to return a product or get a refund from lackluster, service, but we don't hold ourselves to that account. If we sucked, if we did a shitty job that week, do we still take time off over the weekend? Do we still reward ourselves so for me, I try to hold myself accountable to that. I'm a constant, I reflect on everything. So, I'd like to say, hey, would I hire myself today if I was my own employee, or would I fire myself? Right.
Hmm.
I hold myself to a much harder standard than I hold anybody else. So for me, when I give constructive criticism, it's from the heart. When I'm talking with agents and trying to get them going, and trying to, it's nothing. It's not even close to what the pressure that I put on myself to perform. Right. So for me, my process is based on work. You said something about making a schedule. I wasn't very effective in the early parts of my career, bro. It was when I didn't have a schedule, when I didn't take my time seriously, right. Once I started really dialing in my schedule, now that I run three different companies and I have all these agents, and I need to make sure that I'm on point with the focus of my daily schedule, making sure that there's no white space in my calendar, right? It's filled with activities, income producing activities throughout my day, right?
Wait, bring it back and rewind. Say that again. What kind of activities?
Income producing activities, right. So if I'm not, I'm a very undisciplined person naturally. Like, I can, like, don't get like that's why I try to, like that little screen time app on your phone where you can see what you're now. It's hard because I'm doing, but I can see what apps I'm on, mostly my Outlook, my my different communications, Telegram. But if I see that TikTok times creeping up, oh, I got to do something about that, right. So I try to, like I said, make sure my time is well taken for, because, like I said, bro, it's, you control every second of your day. You have control of every second of your day. It's how you use it, right? Some of the highest paid insurance professionals out there have the same license I got, you got. It's what they do with their time. That's the whole difference, right. It's what they do in that 24 hours, right? We
Hmm.
don't need 10 hours of sleep. Right.
This is that movie. I think it's like, I think the movie is Time, where time is the currency that they have.
Hmm.
They're on their wrist. They have time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I
People take
remember.
life a
Yeah,
little more different when they see that countdown going.
man, is it?
Let
Absolutely.
me ask you a question regarding social media. You
Hmm.
brought that up.
Hmm.
Now, you know, I'm going to throw it out there, and for you guys that are
Hmm.
viewers too, is it a trap or is it a tool? Social media is one of the things that I feel people pay a cost. That's part of the cost they pay when it comes to this business.
Yeah,
Because we live in a world of social media. We were
yeah.
talking about it in the group that back in the day, certain entrepreneurs, especially in the life space, found
Hmm.
business to be easier when there was no device. Because once they left the house,
Hmm.
I'll see you when I get home. But now this thing could ring anytime. And every time it rings, you might have to pick it up. And
Yeah.
that's time. And then sometimes you just said TikTok. I
Hmm.
do post on TikTok, but it's real easy to put a post and then see slide to the right, and you're like, "What's
Oh,
this?" Slide
the
to the right again.
algorithm.
What's this?
Oh,
And slide
oh,
to the right
man.
again. There goes your time. So, is it a tool, or do you feel it's a trap? What's your opinion?
It, it's 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 both. Right. It can be used for wasting time and being unproductive, but it can be used. It's a powerful tool. As I see one of our social media gurus in here, Cherry, knows that she runs my social media for me. Right. So what I found is that you empower people within your business to pick up the slack where you are critically lacking. I am critically lacking on social media, right? But I use Cherry services to help with that. She runs my LinkedIn, she runs my Facebook, and she runs my Instagram, right? So and then occasionally, like once a month, I'll post something stupid, right? So 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 people know when it's my post, right, when it's actually me posting. But with that said, it's definitely a double-edged sword. Like I found, like, in my day, like, I'll scroll like once you get on TikTok, you start scrolling 20 minutes later, like, oh shoot, let me get back to work. This was supposed to be a power hour. I'm not saying that I am 100% uh, 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 um, flawless in my day, right. It's still a challenge for me. It's 100% a challenge. So for me, it's just always getting it back, snapping back to reality, and realize, okay, the question I ask myself, and this again relating. In the last 2 hours, was I productive? What have I done? What do I need to complete for the day? Look at my schedule, make sure. That's why if I can keep in my Google Calendar no white space, it alerts me what I need to be doing in the next 10 minutes every time. Okay, good. I got 10 minutes left to my next meeting or this or that. I can stay productive. It's when I don't plan and I do a piss poor job of planning my week out is when my my productivity drops. But social media can, like I said, when I'm productive, social media is an ally. When I'm wasting time and not planned out my schedule, it's 100% a time waster because, you know, some of the foolishness on social media. I mean, like X is like you can get instantaneous news from X, right? But it's also a cesspool of every type of debauchery you can ever want to get
Oh
into.
yeah,
Right,
social
right,
media.
right.
I
So
agree. I agree. It could be
yeah,
a tool, but
yeah,
because of the world we live in, but you
yeah.
got to you got to pay the cost of not doing that. Like you were
Hmm.
like it's everything you do as entrepreneurship is knowing there's a cost and a
Hmm.
price attached to it and what you're
Yeah.
going to pay for it. I actually have a question here from Cherry. What was
Hmm.
there ever a moment you had to choose between your business and your kids, and how did you manage it? That is a good
Oh
question.
man. Oh man. Yeah, 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 yeah. For those of you that have kids in college, man, college tuition is no joke. And there's many occasions where I had at one point I had three kids in college at the same freaking time. Three college tuition bills. One it was 2 semesters, and I was just like, y- you know, from a lot of people that may know my situation, I'm separated. So, two households, three college tuitions. Give me a break. Right. So there's times where I had to, so there was definitely times where I'd sacrifice maybe going to movies when my kids on a Saturday. My kids are huge MCU, Marvel Universe fans. I love going to watch the movies with them. I got tons of pictures of me and the kids in the movie theaters. But there's times where they want to go. Say, hey, baby, no, daddy got to go to work today because the tuition bills due next week. Sometimes as a man and as women, you're going to miss some things because you got to provide. You are the provider for your family, right? Right. But to spin that on his head, what a lot of times those sacrifices sometimes, and I'm being very, very candid, Leo, are are bore from inactivity and unproductivity. And listen to so there's been many times in my career I knew if I just would have worked a little bit harder at the beginning of the week, I wouldn't have to be out here on this weekend when I could be spending time with my kids. I failed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I tried to catch up Thursday, Friday. And then, oh shoot, I missed my goal, or I got to get this bill paid. Now I'm under the gun is because of my inconsistency as a producer. When if you set your month up and set your week up and attack it with a purpose to get work done, and by the end of the week you already set up. Like I think I shared this morning on where I was at yesterday. Coming into this morning, I already hit my goal this morning, so I could spend the day getting ready for our trip tomorrow to Texas, right, for the convention, right, right. Where some people may be in a position where they didn't work as didn't execute as they wanted to in the first half of the week, and now they're under the gun because they have to make sure their bills are paid. Right. So for me, it was like, well, how can I create an atmosphere in my life where I'm always proactive in that situation, where I can make sure that I am in control. Therefore, I'm not going to wait until it's crunch time or the house is on fire to call the fire department. I want to make sure that I've already taken care of my business. So now I can go ahead and, just staying consistent and then take the time off that I need to spend time with my family, spend time with my teammates in Texas, right? Right, where I'm not going to be stressed out. I can be present in those moments, not worrying about, oh, I got that bill coming up. Oh, maybe I need to.
Proactivity. You're being proactive as opposed to being reactive. And
100%.
guys, again, the title, Cause to Be the Boss. Everybody's talking about, I'm a boss, I'm a boss, I'm a boss.
Yeah.
Anybody who is a boss or an owner, or believe me, they're paying a price. And this is it. Sacrificing personal time in a week, right? And putting your money where your mouth is, actually going to work, closing in, being very intense. This word I think should be somewhere with entrepreneurship. You have to be intentional.
Yes.
Intentional about it.
Yeah.
You really have to be intentional about everything you're doing when it comes to that. Oh, you're taking serious time management. Can you explain? You're talking serious time management. Please explain.
Yeah.
August wants to know more about your time management.
Yeah.
I mean, you're giving examples, but August is throwing it out there. What do you mean by this?
So I mean, that's a great question, because it all comes down to how you manage your life, right? Right. August, like this is my life. Like my business is intricately, it's intertwined in my personal life, right. My business is, it doesn't come before God and family. However, it produces the ability for me to take care of my family, to be a spiritual person, to be able to actually serve my God, serve my community, serve my family. It's the catalyst to everything that I do. So I take it deadly serious. So when we talk about time management, when we talk about, it's not just my hour between 9 and 10. No, that's time. That's a block of where I can be productive. And then I have my 10 to 11, and I don't leave any white space. When I look at my calendar and there's white space, that means I'm putting that time to chance. And there's nothing about our life is just chance, right? We control it. We control every second of our day. If we are intentional with our time, and we are intentional with our business, and we are intentional with our day, making sure we are productive and doing the things we need to do, and not just, okay, on the days I feel like it, because we all, like, when you worked in stocks, August, when during COVID, when the stock market got, started to come back up, everybody was making money. No matter how how terrible you were, everything was like, you could throw your money at anything, you would make some money. It's not during the times that the harvest is fresh. It's when you're getting your butt kicked in the face. You don't want to do this no more. You got the woe is me syndrome. You got, your kids is getting on your nerve. Your wife pissed off at you. You got $20 in the bank. What are you gonna do? You better get your ass to work, and you better actually be consistent with that work. You got to be consistent. So for me, what I focused on was the intentionality of my time, no matter what mood I was in. Like, during the day, it's, sometimes, my kids want to call and joke around, hey, baby, let me call you back a little bit later. I'm working. Right. And sometimes it's also mindset. Sometimes you got to take a mental second, right? I deal a lot with live transfers. I deal a lot with agents that take live transfers. So I tell people, I was like, you better bring in A game every day. You better get some music on. You better get your blood flowing. If you in a bad, pissed off mood, you better save that for later because these folks don't want to hear that. It's showtime, right? It's showtime. You have to perform, right? So for me, it's not so much it's time managed, but it's what I do during that time. How
Quality of
productive
time.
I am. Man, it's like it's not, you don't have any more seconds in the day. It's how you use them, and how you can perfect your ability to be an effective business owner during that time. Right. Because like I said, we all have the same amount of time throughout the day. It's how we use it. Right. Are you going to get better? And I'm not saying if you're brand new to this business that you're going to be spot on every single day from the start, from the rip. No, I was, like very, very, honest. Like when I switched from being in the field to being on the phone as a telesales agent, I was hot garbage, bro. I was trash. I was terrible. Right. But what I knew is that I, that guy can do it. That guy can do it. That girl can do it. They're not better than me. let me figure out what I don't know. And
Mm.
that's by constantly improving. I wasn't who I was now, 5 years ago, day one. But it was an incremental process of getting my butt to work, getting punched in the face, learning the business. And when I say punch in the face, we all I get no's all the time, right? I get people that don't want to sign up all the time, right? It's just that doesn't faze me. I just keep on rolling, right. I just keep on pushing, because ultimately you're going to win if you're willing to go through the process with the same intensity, with the same mindset, with the same focus. You're eventually going to win, and that's what
Love it.
I
Love
firmly
it.
believe. Yeah.
I love it, man. So already you're showing a lot. I hope people are writing notes. I know, man. Listen, I'm glad this is being recorded because there's so much that you're saying. I'm paying the price, and
Mhm.
you're a living example of it. That you've paid a lot of
Yeah.
things, but you mentioned something in that first part right there. You mentioned faith. So
Yeah.
glad you did. What what is the how does faith play a part in
Hmm.
how you pay the price to get where have you gotten and where you're trying to go? What how does faith play a role
Man,
in your business?
it's a lot, bro, because my upbringing was tough. You look at how you were raised and the situations that you've gotten through your life, right. And you have to wake up with a sense of gratitude. I wouldn't say I'm a super religious person, but I'm very spiritual, Leo.
Hmm.
And I think, man, I'm just so grateful to be here in the moment and have the ability, right, be of right mind, be of sound body and mind, that I can actually do what I can do. Because a lot of people I grew up with aren't on this earth anymore, or they're in jail, or they never had some of the advantages that I was given. I was one of the only kids in the hood that had both my parents in the house, right. I had a great example of a mom and dad that provided and worked their ass off, right. My work ethic doesn't come from me; it comes from my parents, right. I learned it was learned, right, from them, from an example, right. Um, just you look back in your life and you can see where God have put certain people in your life that made the difference at certain times, that were like key, like you can pinpoint, like, wow, if that counselor didn't help me get to college with that scholarship, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. If I didn't go to a different high school than the one that was crazy in the hood that was right down the street from me, like the decision that, like those small decisions. So you know I'm faithful that things are working in my favor, because and it's because of my higher power, right. Like it's not from me. So how dare I disrespect him, and not go to work every day, and not be grateful for what I have, and not be grateful for the position I am in my life. So for me,
Woo!
man, it's yeah, this shit ain't easy, bro. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. Right. You know what? It's not easy for you final expense agents out there. It's not easy living on $920 a month on Social Security either, right? It's the decisions you make during your life that will reap your benefits, right? We'll reap the harvest later. So take advantage of every situation. And like I said, bro, as I said on this call, man, like, yeah, I got stuff going on. I got issues going on. Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, they was talking about, it was something that I was talking about, man. It was like, if you can put down your problems and pick someone else's up, man, hey, give me my problems back. Like, let me get mine back. I'll take mine every day. Some people are dealing with some stuff, bro, like like that would knock people to their knees. So I'm like, listen, I am I'm grateful, bro. Every day that I wake up and I'm able to pour, like, I got four beautiful kids that are healthy, that are great yeah, life ain't perfect. It's not supposed to be. Ain't supposed to be. It's
It's all
what you
about
do.
faith.
It's what you do with that imperfection, bro. Right? It's what you do with the imperfection. Because it's on you. It's everything is about what you do with it. So yeah, I'm
Mm.
grateful, bro. I'm
Your
definitely
faith plays a big role in your business. Let's just say that.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I feel that's the backbone. Let's see. We got a question
Yeah.
here by Jenny, my children's keeper. Hearing about all the sacrifices and being productive within your 24 hours, have you ever had a crash out moment where it set you back more than it propelled you? How
Mhm.
or how have you prevented that? Mm.
Ooh. Crash out moment. Yeah, yeah. Where I want to go upside somebody's head. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, we're human.
Or you crash out. It could be that you crash out. All right. Let's say maybe she's saying like burnout moment where instead of it propelling
Yeah.
you, it brought you back. It set you back like a
Hey, bro,
distraction.
listen. So it's, well, yeah. I mean, I think we all do, man. Like, we ain't perfect, bro. Like there's only one perfect dude, right? Right? Like, we not perfect. Like, we all have flaws. We all got our stuff that we deal with, our demons, and sometimes devil gets you at the right moment. Right? It got you, right? Like, and you do something foolish. You make a mistake, or you do something that detrimentally affected your business, right? Um, I've had many of those. I've made many mistakes, Jenny, and at the end of the day, you have to give yourself grace, right?
Mhm.
Right. You have to give yourself grace. We're human. We make some of the terriblest mistakes, the dumbest mistakes at the worst time. It's like, and you look back like, why did I do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, bro, you better than that. Or so, yeah. But I chalk it up for just being a man. But
I'll
also,
take that. I'm going to piggyback off of that one. Give yourself
mhm,
grace. But I'm going to tell you one of the parts in
mhm,
that question is how can you or have you prevented that? How can you prevent that? I'll tell you, I've had a lot of those down moments.
mhm,
And here's where it comes. I think this part of entrepreneurship is more
mhm,
relevant in our business, but not really. I think if you have the proper listen, you can watch as many episodes as you want that we've talked about any time of entrepreneurship or any talks that I've ever been on. I'm always going to go back to a very simple principle: who you have around you. So if you have the right people around you, because I know a moment, I know a moment in your life, Omar, because this is how I was introduced to you. I have a
mhm,
moment in your life because this is how I was introduced to you. Put it that way, on the phone, on the chat. I could tell you, and I won't put it on blast unless you want me to, but I know a moment, and I could, and this relates to the answer I'm giving. The
mhm,
people that you have around you are not only, some of them are mentors, some of them are friends, but when it comes to the business end, those people that you're keeping close to you, which is one of the topics I want to talk about, which is who you cut off, those people are watching your blind spots.
mhm,
And the people that are watching your blind spots are not going to let you fall. I'll give you an example. There's times listen, I'm very consistent. I can tell you that
mhm,
I'm a very consistent person because I work by routine. And even I am, like Omar said, I'm human. I there's times I was like, you know what? I'm going to cancel today. And of course, people in my blind spot were like, "What do you mean you can't sing a show? People got to hear what you got to say." It's like, all
Yeah.
right, who's doing the show? Me or you? Like, and you got to understand they're watching your blind spot. They're making sure you don't fall. So having the right people around you is how you prevent that. Now, when you don't have the right people around you, they're just going to become anchors and they're going to cheer your failure. They're going to cheer your failure. So that's how I conquer that. Now, mistakes can be overcome with the same remedy with
Yeah.
people around you. Because you look at me 4 months ago, I'm not the same guy I
Yeah.
am now. And it's because of the
100%.
people around me. It's the chess pieces that were moved. It's the people that stepped in and said, look, you got something to offer. You have value. Let me show you. They took Windex on the glass, cleared me up, and said, come on, shine like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
So if you have
Yeah.
the right people around you, the right people in your ear, and you got the right earpiece to filter out who you should be listening to, that's how you prevent any type of crash out, whether it's bad advice, good advice, or moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I tell you because you had good people around you. Because when I met you, it was on the call that you were going through some serious stuff. I didn't even know who you were, and you were on the call,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Who is that?" And then I saw how everybody was backing you up, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Who is this guy?" And that's how I met you. That's how I was introduced to you. And you know what that told me? I'm part of
Hmm.
something special because I didn't know what was going
Yeah.
on.
Well, I think,
Oh,
bro,
yeah.
it's also being genuine, bro. Like I think being genuine and not being, and I'm not saying people fake, but you can see through someone that's not being genuine, and some of the people that I got that have been with me during the downs, the ups, the mids, the downs. I mean, like the roller coaster of life, right? Right. And they still here. One of those people is Mark T, right? Right. Right. We've seen highs, we've seen lows, and he's always been a consistent, person, no matter what we're going through, whenever, no matter what. And I think when we talked out one day when you were having some issues and you were having some, you were, don't get me wrong, like we all waffle, man. There's times, in this, and I'll get to your question, Jenny, because some of the stumbling blocks are real. Like some of the stumbling blocks in this business can cut you at the knees. Like there was a situation last year that took me out for a couple months, right? Right. I mean, like when I say having second thoughts about this business, it was real, right? Right. But then when I take a step back and you can almost see clarity when you're bleeding, right? You can see clearly the people that still got your back in the storm, that are still there with you, and you hang on to those folks, right? Right. And you do right by those folks. I can honestly say in this business, I can sleep very well at night. Right? Because I don't think I've ever put someone in a position or took advantage of them. Uh, um, but yeah, man, the people, bro, is everything. Like some of the, like my right hand Dana. I mean, not only is one of my best friends and business partners. I mean, it's people that when the chips are down, when the bullets are flying, you don't have to question people's reserve, right?
Mm.
You don't have to question their loyalty. You don't have to question if they're gonna turn the gun towards you, right? So for me, that's been everything, and I can honestly say you became one of those people too, Leo, man. We got some good people in our circle, right, bro? so so definitely people. But I think Jenny had a follow-up question.
Yes, you did. And then I'll bring it back. It says, could you be more specific in regards to your stumbling blocks, in regards to your entrepreneurship and your growth journey?
Mhm,
And how
mhm.
did you correct those stumbles?
By getting with people that have been through it, being with people that have already been through those storms, not figuring it out, taking advice from people that have already been there, done that, and are giving you great advice. Like you don't want to take advice from the people that are not performing and not where you want to be. Right. So when I talk about when you talk about stumbling blocks, yeah, there's times mismanagement of money, not being able to buy leads because you spend all your money, right, not actually minding your business, like actually, because a lot of times people say, I got my cell phone bill, I got my rent bill or my mortgage bill, I got this, my tuition bill. No, you pay your lead bill first because that's what's going to keep you working, right? Right. So the stumbles as an entrepreneur is not really putting the time and effort into the business that actually is paying your bills, right? Right. Sometimes we say, we prioritize other things over what's more, over the important things that keeps your business alive. So yeah, I've been in situations where I'm broke. I can't buy any leads. All of a sudden, I got to figure some things out. I got to do some other things to make some money. Right. Side jobs, whatever. But if you focus on your business and what your business needs, it'll let you provide for your family. Right.
Yeah, that's
And then having, but also like sometimes, man, it's embarrassing, right? Sometimes when you don't got a pot to piss in. Like there's been times in this business where like I and to God, where I gotta put my truck in behind my car because the repo man's looking for my car, right? We raise your hand if you've been there, right. But as an entrepreneur, like these stumbling blocks, my success, like a lot of times when you see the success, I had a great week, right? Leo, people can see your success, but they don't understand the process, the time, the work, the hours. I've been at the office 7:30 in the morning till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, 4 days this week, right, Monday through Thursday. And it wasn't me hanging out and shooting the breeze. I'm working, right. But there's results from that, right? Because I had a plan and I executed. But the biggest stumbling block is inactivity. I think I'm a naturally undisciplined and lazy person. So I can, one of the stumbling blocks is once you have a successful week, taking your foot off the gas because you got a little money in the bank. And you may be, I'm gonna go on vacation. I'm gonna go to the beach. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Oh, I just made 10K this week. I'm doing this. And then all of a sudden, a couple deals charge back. Then you miss a couple days of work. The one of the biggest stumbling block for this business, Jenny, is inactivity, not being consistent. Inconsistent work ethic gives you inconsistent income. Inconsistent work ethic gives you inconsistent income. If you are consistent with your work, no matter how good or bad, you put that full day of work in, and then you take your planned time off later.
that was good.
Yeah,
Woo.
yes, that
I'm
was
not
for me.
even.
Those were my biggest stumbling blocks: mismanagement
My,
of money and inconsistent work ethic.
Mine was mismanaging money and
Mhm.
also anchors. Always trying to be a
Yeah.
superhero for everybody. I'll
Mhm.
do this, I'll do that, I'll be there, I'll be there. I had to learn how
Mhm.
to leverage what's around me, and I had to start
Mhm.
to learn how to prioritize what is important and what's not. Um,
Mhm.
is going to take my son to college when he was right here down the block as important as me closing this annuity that's right here. Oh, my son
Mhm.
first. My son's 21. He could take an Uber. Like there's certain things that I had to learn how to understand
Yeah.
where I fit in that faith family business. Like, where is the family at? I start my business and everything starts with my faith. That's a building block of everything. I thank God for everything. I thank God for
Yeah.
just being able to talk to you guys today. So that's simple. When
Yeah.
it comes to my son, I used to let it become a real big anchor where now I have to pick and choose what really is important. Even if
Yeah.
if he called me right now, is it important to pick up the phone? He can text me, and my son doesn't always call or text, but I learned how to communicate with him. And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I had to figure out where is how to handle that anchor.
Yeah.
Same thing with my mom. Like there's just certain things that I had to learn through mentorship, conversation, and actually having communication. That's the biggest clue, the biggest key to my
Yeah.
success and any success, which I haven't made it yet, guys. When I say
Yeah.
success, it's because I'm better than I was. And what's been the biggest building block to my success is the word communication. I've become very good at communicating, not only whatever I'm talking about, but I communicate my feelings very well. I
Yeah.
don't I have the emotional intelligence to communicate my feelings, and I think with that
Hey,
I can.
bro. with you, sometimes it's uncomfortable. That's one thing I noticed. I noticed with you when I first met you, like, bro, this dude will say whatever he wants to say to anybody. Like, no, what this dude? What is it like? And it can rub people the wrong way. It
Again,
can, right. But what I do know is that I know you'll like. I know exactly where I'm at with you. I know exactly what you feel because you don't spare the words because you say it, right. Which, like I said, I mean, like so for better, for good or bad, right. But that's funny. But Cherry Cherry put a question there. I missed her question. Said, "What advice would you give to entrepreneurs struggling with decision paralysis?" I will say this. That's probably one of my stumbling blocks as well. Besides mismanagement of money, and besides um 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 you know I think that's what led to sometimes my inconsistency was I am under the surface of really like I'm a big green. I like to analyze situations, right? Like I like to because I'm a like how can I say this? Like I'm a spreadsheet king. I got spreadsheets for everything. I do that. I can put the numbers down. I can write this down. Oh, if I need to, okay, I need to do this. I got to so how many calls I got to make, how many leads I got to buy, and sometimes I'll get so deep in the numbers, it creates a sense of accomplishment because I got the plan. Oh, I got this plan laid out, right? Right, I got this. I'm ready, and then I forget the most important component of that plan, which is action, which is actually doing it. Right? Because it's just like they did a study. Like once you start really digging into those goals and you visualizing what you want to achieve, it's almost like you've already achieved it because you visualized it. So it's almost like you like some of that serotonin release, that endorphin release when you actually accomplish something that happens when in the planning phase, in the goal phase, when you can if you're a good visualizer, it that sometimes can happen. And that was with me. I was like, oh yeah, man, I can, I can. I'm about to do this. We talked about the I'm about to tribe. Don't be a part of the I'm about to. I'm about to walk in 2025. I'm about to do this. I'm about to do that. Right. But when it comes down to it, are you actually executing?
somebody
Are you
say you're a
actually
green. They don't believe you're a
It's funny.
green.
And believe me, listen, I overanalyze everything because I reflect a lot on things. And okay, when I reflect, okay, what could I have done better? Okay, oh, I can do this, this, and this. I'm gonna do it this way. I can do this. I can boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I can do that. Oh man, I'm about to kill it. And then all of a sudden, 2, 3 hours go past. I could have just been making some phone calls and selling some apps. Right, right. So right, vision is everything too. Mark, you have to have a vision, but don't like you know. I tell people all the time. My first 2 months, when I started in life insurance and final expense, I didn't know what final expense was. I just went to work because I had bills. I was killing it in the first 3 months, and then I starting the planning started, and then I started becoming inconsistent. And then I started getting that paralysis by the analysis of what I'm trying to do, and then but I can put a mark in it where my performance fell off, where my consistency fell off, right? So yeah, yep.
To answer that question for Cherry, me is a do it now.
Mm,
If you tell me to do something, I wish I can show you my board. I have a board right here. It's in big red letters. Do it now. If I don't
yeah,
do it now and you give me a suggestion and I have to really think about it, it probably not. I probably don't want to do it. But if you tell me like go record this and it's like
mhm,
and I get up and do it, that the quickest thing I could do is not think about it because I can overthink things.
mhm.
So I'm a action type of guy. Just do it now, deal with the consequences later. Especially when it comes to business. That's how I stop myself from being paralyzed. Because the minute you start overthinking, you start thinking the what ifs. But what if this happens? But what if that happens? And what if this happens instead of that? And now you're like, confused minds don't make decisions. So I prefer to just do it
Yeah,
now. That's how
yeah.
I handle that. Coach has or Mark, Mr. Mark Torilla has a question here. What is the most common misconception about being an entrepreneur and a business owner? That you have money. That is the most common. I own this, and you know, some people use that as an example. Mark, they'll go somewhere. What do you do for work? Well, I own. You know, they use it for leverage, and then you say, "Well, let me see your books." Well, I'm broke. I'm not going to show you that. So it's automatic that people automatically think that if you own something, you have money. That's one. That's
Yeah,
what I think the misconception is. That's what I've heard. So, what do
yeah.
you have for that one?
Oh, that you have all the time in the world. Like, once you become a,
Oh,
oh yeah,
really?
you can be the Uber for your family, or you can do, oh, you don't have a real job, so you can take care of this.
Mm.
So that's, yeah, for most common misconception. As an entrepreneur and as a business owner, you realize that you have even less time than the average W-2 9 to 5 worker.
Okay. This will be our last question. Then you're gonna actually have a shameless plug moment where you get to basically let people know where you find you, and now have a closing thought. But this
Okay.
is very interesting. And I
Mhm.
say it's the last question, but somebody else might pop up with a good one again. But it says, as the show is called Unapologetic Entrepreneur, what
Mhm.
unapologetic decision have you made as an entrepreneur that went against the grain?
Hmm.
Wow.
Wow. Against what grain though? Like against
That's a
mm,
tough one there.
that is
Ooh.
a tough one. Uh, to to continue the fight, I will say this: some of your biggest obstacles as a entrepreneur can come from the people that you love the most. My mom and dad love me unconditionally, but when they see you struggling to build a business, hey baby, they hiring at Amazon. Hey baby, they're hiring with the state. You might want to go get a job there so you can have some consistent income. Some of the biggest obstacles come from the people that just really care the most about you. They just want to make sure you're good, right? Right? Or so the against the grain, my ex-wife's family was 100% supportive of me, but also they from a you work 30 years, you work 9 to 5. They all work for the state. They all teachers or principals. They all put your 30 years in and retire. That ain't me. so there was some big issues with that. So yeah, that was probably the most against the grain, was just being an entrepreneur, being in that field, and pushing back. It's hard to push back when you are getting your ass handed to you. It's tough, man. Like, it's when you looking at your bank account, it's not what you want, and you got all these people that care about you in your ear about doing, like, listen. I heard it all, but they're your biggest cheerleaders now when you're successful. Oh, I knew you could do it. I knew you was going to go ahead.
Let me hold something. Let me hold something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what you asking me for money now? But yeah, that's probably the biggest decision, was to continue, because a lot of people give up. What's that book's name that was, 6 feet from gold? A lot
Yeah,
of people give up.
3 feet from gold. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 feet from gold. A lot of people give up right before they reap the benefits. So I would encourage people on this podcast to go ahead and just focus on continuing the process of growth. Don't quit. Don't give up. Like, that's one thing I love about myself, is that I wasn't the most talented, wasn't the most, but I just go to work. I just go to work. Like, at the end of
Mm,
the day, I'm going to outwork you every day of the week, and twice on Sunday if I have to.
mm. Well, me like you is the same thing. I'm just answering the
Mhm.
question. It's the same thing. It was to be honest with you, my first speech. See, I come from a background of where I got 2 masters and 3 bachelors. When
Mhm.
see when I left a job, that was giving me pretty comfortable 6 figures for what people think was 9 months of work. And yeah, principal's job is not 9 months, by the way, but you're making a certain type of money, and then you decide to walk away when you see an opportunity in entrepreneurship. Nobody in my life has ever been an owner of anything. I remember when I was going through a hard time, my mom tried to get me a bouncing gig, and when I mean that, I mean security at a club in New York. And I was like, what? And I was like, I have 2 masters. I'm not gonna go work I did that part time. She put me like I don't know. So my mom was just like, oh, this person's hiring. They're hiring in the UPS, and I was like, the hardest part was just standing up to her because my mom is my everything. At that part of my life, that's all. I always wanted to do better, to give her something to change the trajectory of our last name. So I almost felt like it was bestowed upon me to do so. And when you're going down and you feel that pressure and you feel like you're failing other people, not just yourself, because a lot of us entrepreneurs don't do it for ourselves. We're doing it for other people and they don't see it. Granted, we get to get some fruits of that labor too. But when you're doing it for other people and you start to feel like you're failing them and still going against that thought and that belief because you have that much more belief in you, that's one of those decisions that you make that it's sink or swim on your own, and people are going to be upset, but they're going to deal about it. I remember when I first got my first 6-figure ring, that was the beginning of my speech. I still have it recorded. I said, I want to thank my mom for not believing in me. Yeah, I said it. I wanted her to hear it. And she was there. Okay, that was the beginning of my speech. And I explained what I meant by it also, but she knew that I was letting her know, don't think I forgot. You didn't believe in me, but look at me now. Look at me now.
Yes,
I had to tell her a little bit, and we laugh about it now. But that was the hardest thing, Mr. Omar Mitchell, shameless plug time. Let people know where they can find you, what you do, and how they can get in touch with you if they need to.
Oh, well, it's real easy. If you best thing is to text or call me 614-306-2916. Easiest way. It's my phone. As we all know, the phone is always attached to us as entrepreneurs. Facebook, Omar Mitchell, real easy. Instagram, OmarMitchellOfficial.com. So, yep.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please click right here on the scan right here, like and subscribe and share. All right. We always have entrepreneur every Friday at 5. I want to leave it with this, man. You do have to pay the cost to be the boss, man. You do have to pay a price. There's a lot that you pay, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of financial, a lot of financial burdens. You got to pay. But here's what I'll say. It's worth the payment when the reward is building a legacy, when it's freedom, and when you're working in purpose. Guys, that's what every entrepreneur does, what they do. I could tell you it's about financial freedom. They work in their purpose, and it's about building a legacy. And that's what we do here every day. This has been another episode of the Unapologetic Entrepreneur. I want to thank you guys for watching, and you could have been anywhere in the world, but here with us, so I appreciate you. Much love. Jess, I want to make sure you guys just look out. We got some big things coming up. And I can't wait for you guys to see them. It's been an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege. Be blessed.